What's up, everyone? It's Branto75, and welcome to the first official video on SG Nation. Or Century Gaming Nation, however you want to say it, don't really care. SG Nation's how we're burning it, and we're sticking to it. Anyway, this video is more about what is really required for PC gaming nowadays. A lot of people on many different types of forums like Newegg, PC Part Picker, Tom's Hardware, anywhere else you go, they're pretty much going to tell you, you need a 780 Ti or like a Titan or a 290X. And let me just be perfectly clear, that is not the case. There are a lot of games that you can still play on lower end graphics cards like the GTX 660, 650 Ti Boost, the 7850, the 7870. You know, there's a lot of cards out there like in between the $180 to $250 price range that will still actually play all of today's games at maximum settings. So the card that I use in my system is the GTX 660, and a lot of people say that this is a pretty bad card, but I don't understand why. This card gives me like amazing performance, and it really only cost me about $220. So right now on the screen you're going to be seeing my specifications of the graphics card, the clock speed, the RAM, everything this card's about. So take a second to look at that, digest it, own it, make it yours. Okay. Alright, so I ran it through a couple games in BenchMarks, and I actually got some pretty interesting results with this graphics card. So right now on the screen you're going to be seeing the Batman Arkham City settings I used. Take a second, digest it. Now you're seeing the Grand Theft Auto 4 settings, Battlefield 3, Crysis 2, Skyrim. Note to take with Skyrim, I'm running about 15 to 25 mods. So if you're not running mods, you're pretty much going to get a 100% increase. And for two games that you're not seeing the settings right now is going to be Blacklight Retribution and Fallout New Vegas. The reason for those games is one, Blacklight Retribution did not appear in GeForce Experience, and two, Fallout New Vegas, its setting list is like 10 miles long, and I couldn't take a picture of it. So let's get straight into these benchmark results. As you can see, throughout the entire list we have about a pretty consistent average FPS. They all range between like 55 to 60. And this is where I say vertical sync is key. Vertical sync is going to make your game as smooth as possible. So at the very end of the list, I want to take notice to Fallout New Vegas and Blacklight Retribution. Surprise, surprise, these are the two games that gave me trouble. The minimum FPS on Fallout New Vegas was 20 frames, and the minimum FPS on Blacklight Retribution was 0. These are not results that you should take clearly into your heart and into your soul, because right when I started the benchmarks, every time I ran the benchmarks, the frames kind of jumped around and went crazy for a minute. So don't take these minimum results too seriously. So what can we do with these results? What we can do is determine that we don't need these greatest graphics cards to make these games playable. We don't need the most amazing, most awesome PCs. Like my computer, it's $1,500. That is a mid-range computer, and you can get really good frame rates for it. You don't need to spend $2,000 on a PC. I mean, you can if you like, pimp that shit out. But you don't need to spend like $1,000 on a graphics card. You don't really need to go over $500. Hell, you don't need to go over $400. You can get one of these lower graphics cards and still get optimal performance. The reason that these graphics cards nowadays are so expensive is because they're going to keep you being able to use that same graphics card pretty much for like at least the next 4 or 5 years. So when you guys are going around selecting parts for your computer, or maybe you're building a computer for a friend, or any time that you might be looking at graphics cards, keep this video in mind, because you don't need the absolute best. And sometimes the absolute best is not always the best choice.